Hello, this is Daniel Mart back again. I'm an actor and filmmaker based out of South Florida, and for this video, I'm basically going to discuss my thoughts on the recent Oscars that happened this weekend. You know, my overall thoughts on the event, on the show, what are my thoughts on the winners, the ones I did get right and the ones I did get wrong. And overall, I just want to discuss all this. And yeah, because last week, literally, not even last week, like literally a few hours before the Oscars actually happened, I finally released my predictions video. And yeah, it would have come out a few days before that, but technical difficulties just occurred. So you guys got it. It's literally in the final few hours right before the awards actually started. So yeah, overall, I just want to give my quick thoughts before I actually get into the winners and losers and if my predictions were right or wrong. I just want to give my general thoughts on some of the stuff that happened during the event. And I mean, first off, okay, I'm not gonna hide this. I do not like Jimmy Kimmel. I find him to be extremely unfunny. I find him to be extremely uncharismatic. I think he is extremely fake. I don't understand. No, I do kind of understand why they keep picking him. And I'll get to that in a second, but like if I'm being honest, I don't understand why they keep picking him. I know like industry insider reason why they do keep picking him, but I just do not like the fact that he's hosted this 3 times. This was his 3rd year, and I think 3 times too many. I think 1 time alone was too many, and even then he shouldn't have been allowed to host that 1 time. But hey, he was allowed to for some reason, and for some reason they still wanted him around to do it 3 years. So go figure. And yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. The only reason Jimmy Kimmel, the charlatan, that's what I call him, he's a charlatan. The only reason he's allowed to host is because of 2 reasons. One is because the Oscars are shown on ABC, which is where Jimmy Kimmel Live is also shown. So you know, it's easy to just pick somebody up from that company and shove them into the Oscars. I guess that makes sense. Whatever. And then the second one is because his wife is a producer of the show. Go figure. Of course, nepotism happens. And yeah, that's what I've always said. Networking helps. Networking gets you opportunities. And this guy, the only reason he's allowed to host is because of the way he's networked. Congratulations. Please do us a favor and never host again. John Mulaney is right there. Just saying, like, he did a great job presenting the award for a couple seconds. Let John Mulaney do something. Or, you know, if anything, personally, I would like to see Eugene or Dan Levy do it. Or bring back Chris Rock. Have someone who's actually funny and charismatic, not awkward, off-putting, and just a prick, like Emma Stone said. Like Kimmel, like the guy's not even funny. He did a lot of just bad jokes. I mean, there's one joke he did about poor things in Emma Stone that literally the reaction was of Emma Stone calling him a prick. There's one Robert Downey Jr. joke that clearly RDJ did not enjoy. There's a whole thing with John Cena, which, not to get too, because that one joke became very political very fast. But I'll be honest, that joke just, you forget the whole politics of it very fast. It just wasn't funny. Like, why are you honoring a streaker from 1970s when David Niven was presenting an award? Like, why is that something you want to remember? Like, oh, and why do we want to recreate that? It was a very unfunny joke. John Cena tried to sell it. And John Cena usually is funny, but it's just the fact that the concept for this joke is just bad. It's dumb. It's not funny. And a lot of people made this political because it's the Oscars, it's Hollywood. They're always going to make something political. And for this one, especially if you go like on the LGBTQ queer side of Twitter or social media in general, a lot of people are saying, oh, so we can't do drag shows because it's going to turn people gay, but this is allowed. We're allowed to show a nearly naked man covering his junk with an envelope. Like, that's fair. And I kind of get it. I just didn't think the joke was funny. I don't understand why you had to do the joke. And John Cena did try to sell it. And John Cena's parts were a little bit funny, I'll admit. Jimmy Kimmel, just please get off our TV screens. Nobody wants you there. Like, what the hell? So, yeah, that's my little rant on Jimmy Kimmel. If you want a Jimmy, get Fallon. Just saying. Okay, so yeah, moving on from my Jimmy Kimmel rant. Some of the other stuff that was highlights were honestly the songs. Even Flaming Hot, which I'm like, why is this nominated? Because the Diane Warren nomination, of course. But even that was a decent performance. But I think everybody knows that I'm just kind of absolutely blew it out of the park. I also did like Billie Eilish and her performance of What Was I Made For. That was another great performance. John Baptiste and his song was another great performance. I think all the performances of the songs were great. And then we get to the In Memoriam and just they need to figure out a better format for the In Memoriam. It's been kind of a bust for the past couple of years. And yeah, and then how they did it, I mean, first off, I guess there's dancers, and And despite the fact that there was close-ups to the dancers, I guess that just didn't register in my mind until I rewatched that section of the award show. I do think that the Bocelli's singing was great. I do think that was a great song, but just overall, I don't have close-ups of the Bocelli's that much. We want to see who this memoriam is for, and then at the very end, where they just put a bunch of names in a bubble, was kind of just like, really, was kind of random. Like, that's how you gonna honor some of these people. Like, you have like Ray Stevens and Lance Reddick and all these people like in this little bubble for some, like, just text in a bubble, and it's kind of, I found that to be kind of disrespectful if I'm being honest. And yeah, like, overall, I think there was some good and bad in memoriam. I like the fact that they actually honored Matthew Perry, because I do think that was something that they could have missed. If I'm being honest, that's actually someone I was like a little bit worried that they were gonna miss. But it is what it is. And yeah, I do think that some of the ways they presented some of these awards were actually good. We have the whole Batman reunion with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, and then them calling out Michael Keaton, like, "Hey, Batman, what the hell?" I thought that was really fun. I think the little bit between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling in order to promote Free Guy or Fall Guy, their new movie together. It's Fall Guy. Free Guy's something else. I think that was pretty clever, even though they didn't really promote. Like, they didn't say, "Hey, go watch Fall Guy," but we kind of got the gist of it. And yeah, overall, I thought some of those aspects of the ceremony were great. And another thing I want to comment on is how they actually presented some of these awards, especially the acting awards. And a lot of people have mixed feelings, and I kind of fall in the same way, that I'm kind of mixed in the way they did it, because personally, I want to see like the clips of the actors performing, but I do understand why they want to have people who are close to the actors saying basically a small eulogy, or I guess a small little like monologue about why this person is great. But I did just find it a little bit anticlimactic in a sense, because I don't know, it just didn't have like the gravitas I suppose that they thought it was gonna have. And then the last thing I want to comment on, which a lot of people have commented on, is how Best Picture was revealed. Yeah, what the hell was that? Al Pacino? Oh wait, it's actually not Al Pacino's fault. Good thing I saved myself to do this video when I did, because it's actually come out that Al Pacino really didn't have a choice in presenting the awards that way. That's actually how they wanted the awards to be presented, for him to just get on stage, say a little quip, and go right directly into Oppenheimer won Best Picture. And I find that to be very confusing. Like, first off, they put Al Pacino in a weird place, and originally he was supposed to share the screen with, I forgot her name right now, but his co-star from Scarface. But yeah, so originally that was the plan, and I think had she been there, maybe this could have been a bit better, but she couldn't make it because of a family emergency at the final hour, last minute. So he kind of just had to suffer the consequences by default. And I guess their logic was, oh, we've been highlighting these films throughout the ceremony, so why do we need to highlight them again? And I thought that's a very dumb excuse, if I'm being honest. Like, yes, you could highlight these awards throughout the ceremony, cool, but like, we're not asking you to like give us behind the scenes stuff. We're just saying to say, hey, say the names and the producers, and that's it. Like, it really doesn't, like, it's one of those things, like, the Academy sometimes does a bunch of weird stuff to try to shorten time, and like, you're only saving about a minute by doing it the way you did, if that much, if it even matters. So just have him say the names, or Al Pacino or whoever the announcer is, say the names. Say, American Fiction, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest, whatever, and that's it. Like, I don't, that just seemed like a very dumb excuse on the Academy's part. That aside, now, what did I think about the actual awards, who the winners, who the losers are? And I'm going to be looking at my computer here for this one, so excuse if the eyesight kind of goes wonky, but I'm trying to read off it, because I don't remember right off the top of my head all the winners and all the losers, so to speak, and as well as who I predicted compared to who actually won, for the most part. But yeah, so the first one, I got 5 incorrect. There was 5 awards I didn't guess correctly, and those are Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Score, Best Live Action Short, Best Animated Feature Film, and Best Actress. I'm going to go in order of those 5 that I got wrong first before I discuss the rest of the actual award winners. So yeah, the first one I got wrong was Best Makeup and Hairstyling, which I said was going to be Maestro, and then went to Poor Things, and that just proved that Maestro was completely shunned out this award season, I guess. I legit thought that Maestro had that one in the bag. It's the one award that I thought was actually going to get. It's the one thing that everybody kind of liked from that movie that didn't become a meme at some point. No, it went to Poor Things, and I'm kind of surprised. To a certain extent, I am a bit surprised it went to Poor Things, just because the makeup wasn't the biggest talking point of Poor Things, I think. I mean, yes, you did comment on how Willem Dafoe had, like, this whole, like, enlarged face, fucked up face. Yeah, I'll give you that. But, like, wasn't a makeup heavy movie, and yes, it's called makeup and hairstyling, so I guess you could give it to the hairstyling in this movie, and that is a fantastic reason to give it the sword, don't get me wrong, but it just seemed kind of weird that it didn't go to master, because again, it was just the one thing that it always had going for it, and at the final hour it just didn't. So I'm kind of surprised about that, but it also makes sense as to why Poor Things got the award at the end. Next up, the one I got wrong was best score, where I predicted Killers of the Flower Moon for Robbie Robertson, and at the end it went to Oppenheimer. Yeah, the main reason I decided to go with Killers of the Flower Moon is because Robbie Robertson, he died. That's literally my thing, and I thought that would have been a great way to honor him and to give him that award, but I guess not. They gave it to Oppenheimer, and here's the thing. I've actually started listening again to the scores for both of these movies, and I'll admit, I do like the Oppenheimer score just a little bit more. The thing with me is, when it comes to score, I usually don't pay attention to them, if that makes sense. I just kind of let the movie happen. Like, there's very few times where a score will actually impact me, or I'll actually be focused on it enough to, like, hey, I want to listen to this again. Even like an iconic score, like let's say the Godfather score or Jaws or even the Avengers score, like some iconic scores. Like, yes, they're fun. I remember them. They're great. But I never really go back to listen to them, if I'm being honest. And that was kind of my struggle with here. Like, what would it win? You know, which one wins in this category? And I decided to go for the Dead Guy, which seemed like a safe bet, but I guess not. To a certain extent, it does make sense that Oppenheimer would win, just because it got nominated in a bunch of these categories, and it won a bunch of these categories. So it kind of makes sense at the same time. But again, I just thought they were going to go for the Dead Guy. Kind of just made sense in my logic, but I guess not. So yeah, I'm pretty sure because of that, Killers didn't get a single award. I don't remember getting a single award, winning a single thing. So that's the other thing. It got completely shunned out this award season, at least in the Academy. So the next one I got wrong was best documentary short film, and that one I decided to go for Nine Eye and Waipo, and instead I went to The Last Repair Shop, and I'm actually kind of surprised on that one. Now, even in my predictions video, I did say that maybe The Last Repair Shop could get it, but I just thought there was so much steam behind Nine Eye and Waipo that it was actually going to get it. I felt like this was one of those that was more locked in than other awards, but I guess not. So I haven't seen any of the short films, I'll be completely honest with you, so I can't really comment on if Nine Eye and Waipo is objectively a better film than The Last Repair Shop. I can't really comment on either which way on that one, but again, I was just going with the overall story, the overall narrative, and which one everybody really seemed to be putting their support behind, and it was The Last Repair. It was Nine Eye and Waipo, which I saw, but I guess at the end, and then went with The Last Repair Shop, which, you know, congratulations. I mean, you know, Nine Eye and Waipo, the filmmakers for there got their nomination. The Last Repair Shop, the filmmakers for there got their award. So, I mean, at the end of this, still win-win situation. Even if I haven't seen either films, maybe one day I'll see what happens. But yeah, next up, the next one I got wrong was animated film, animated feature film, and that one I predicted for it to go to Spider-Verse, and at the end it went to Boy and the Heron. And to be honest, this was one that was basically the Boy and the Heron versus Spider-Verse, and I'm honestly very happy that Boy and the Heron got it. It's one of those things that I would have been happy with either one. And the only reason I predicted Spider-Man is because of the fact that the first one did win this award, and this movie in particular, more so than Boy and the Heron, a lot of people thought it was going to get into other categories like best score, best adapted screenplay. A lot of people wanted to get into best picture straight up, so it had so much momentum. Whereas I didn't even see that kind of momentum for Boy and the Heron. I saw it a little bit with the score, but aside from that, I didn't really see much of it going for Boy and the Heron, but I did think it was going to be a two-way race between those two. I am happy that I went to Boy and the Heron because of Hayao Miyazaki, regardless of if this is his last film or not. It's still an incredible win, and this is only the second 2D animated film to have won this award. The only other one being Spirited Away, which is also Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki, which, yeah, it makes sense. Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki, they're the only ones who could really pull that shit off, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, it completely makes sense. But, yeah, Spider-Verse, I still think would have been a worthy win for this one, but it wasn't. Went to Boy and the Heron, another worthy win. The only thing I'm going to say in regards to this, and it's not even this award, it's more so how a joke that's always said with this award, where an animated movie is always a kid's movie. That joke is getting tired. Like, that joke is getting very fucking tiring, and it's bullshit. I mean, this is not an adult. I mean, this is not a children's movie. This is clearly an adult movie, Boy and the Heron. I would say the same thing for Spider-Verse. I would say the same thing for Nimona. I would say the same thing for Elemental. I haven't seen Robot Dreams, but I would say the same thing for Robot Dreams. Probably, like, that's the thing. Just because a film is animated doesn't mean it can't just be for kids. An animated film has, time and time again, been shown that it could also be for adults. Anomalisa is an adult film clearly an adult film, and it got nominated in this award. Trust me, there's a bunch of other great adult films animated that are great that they're not for kids. Like Grave of the Fireflies, for example. That's another one. Heavy Metal, definitely not a children's movie. You know, like there's a bunch of animated movies that are not for kids, or not just for kids. They can be for all ages. And the fact that we keep making this joke that, oh, an animated movie is just for kids, is like, fuck off. And Kimmel made that joke, so, you know, double fuck off for Kimmel. Fuck y'all. Fucking charlatan. Fucking hate the guy. He's just slightly better than the actual monsters in Hollywood, like Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein. He's just slightly better by the sole virtue that he's not an actual predator, you know, regardless of what some people want to joke about, but, you know, that's besides the point. And then the only other one I got wrong, and I'm happy I got this one wrong, is Best Actress. And I legitimately thought this was going to go to Lily Gladstone. Even in my predictions video, I was kind of upset by the fact that I had to predict Lily Gladstone, because I adamantly believed that she was not Best Actress material. She was Best Supporting Actress. And even within the type of acting that she's doing, which is a more subtle performance, a more subdued performance, I didn't even think she gave the best subtle or subdued performance of the year. I thought that honor would go to Greta Lee. Even within her category, I thought that Sandra Hüller gave a better subdued or subtle performance than she did. Now, granted, this is all subjective. You know, picking the best, worst, that's always subjective. And I do know people who honestly do prefer Lily Gladstone's performance over Emma Stone, and that's completely valid. I'm not taking that away from you. Again, this is just my own personal opinion. And my own personal opinion is that I just thought Emma Stone gave a better performance in Poor Things than Lily Gladstone. And I also believed that Lily Gladstone, again, is just not Best Leading Actress. She is Best Supporting Actress, and I've always believed that. Like I said, the only reason I like the fact that she was nominated in Lead Actress instead of Supporting is because of the fact that had she been nominated in Supporting, there would have been a good chance that she would have taken Divine Joy Randolph's win in that category. And I am very, very happy by the fact that Emma Stone won. That being said, I don't think Emma Stone herself was happy that she won, because the face she did the second she won, she gave the most like, the fuck kind of face. Like, she clearly didn't expect to win. She clearly wanted Lily Gladstone to win, and that's the thing. She's been very supportive of Lily Gladstone throughout this whole award season, and honestly, that is great. I will admit, that is fantastic. You know, people supporting each other, that is great. And, you know, despite whatever I believe on Gladstone's performance, on whether it should be leading or supporting, that's besides the point. You know, it is great that Emma Stone and everybody else has been supporting Lily Gladstone throughout this whole journey. And at the end of the day, again, regardless of whatever I think of that performance, it still is a good performance, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, despite the fact that I didn't connect as much with that performance, I do like the fact that it was nominated at the end. It is a great nomination, and, you know, the only downside to her nomination, like the only legitimate downside to her nomination and her not winning, is the fact that people are going to make this political, and people have already started making this political, because she was supposed to be the first Native American woman to win the award, and she didn't. And now people are saying, oh yeah, we kind of broke a glass ceiling, but now we have to work twice as hard to now get that win, when it should have been now. And I've already seen that conversation, and that's, you know, that's a conversation. You know, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not that smart to get into that kind of conversation. I don't, and I also just, personally, I don't care to get into that kind of conversation, because I just find it's always tiring, time and time again, because everything always has to be political. But, you know, it is what it is. Regardless, I am ecstatic that Emma Stone won that award, and it definitely was the best performance of the year, one of the best performances of the year for sure, and I'm really happy. As for some of the other winners that won here, honestly, I'm very happy that Godzilla Minus One got that visual effects award. That's a great win. That's an incredible win. You know, there's already memes going on that it took Godzilla 74 years to get an Academy Award. So if he could do it, you know, you can't too, type of stuff. Like, I've seen that meme already a bunch, and I find it hysterical. I love it. It's kind of funny, you know. Also, the fact that whole team, the whole Godzilla team, they brought like little miniatures of Godzilla wherever they went. One of the people from that team was wearing like Godzilla high heels. They were repping Godzilla a lot, and I just absolutely love that. Godzilla deserved that nomination. It deserved that win. It was great, and everybody loves the fact that it won. And that's incredible. I really like that. Another one that I really, really like was, of course, let's be honest, Robert Downey Jr. winning. That's an incredible win. We've wanted him to win for the longest time. It's about time he got an award. It's about time he got his recognition. And I kind of recall something that he said, And I don't remember if this was right before Oppenheimer or this was during the presser for Oppenheimer, but I remember he said this at some point recently, and that is that he's given a lot of incredible work, and he thinks that some of his best work is in the MCU. The thing is that not many people are going to credit him for doing such great work because it's in the MCU, because these are Marvel movies, because these are genre movies, and I honestly have to agree with that. A lot of times actors give their best performances or some of their best performances in these genre films, but they're just not equally as recognized because of the fact that these are in genre films. Despite the fact that we had Everything Everywhere All at Once, a sci-fi film, do this last year, let's be honest, there's been a bunch of other performances that have not been as appreciated as much because they're in this genre films. A great notable one will be Toni Collette from Hereditary. I think that's one, and honestly, Gabriel Byrne, also in Hereditary. That's one I personally like. I think that performance is very underrated. Another one will be from Midsommar with Florence Pugh, for example. There's just a bunch of great performances that are in these genre films that aren't recognized as much, and sometimes that is the best work, and the fact that RDJ, he recognizes that, and he's able to acknowledge that, and call that out is incredible. And now that he did a straight drama, I guess, I'd still say it's a little bit science fiction to a certain extent because it is the atom bomb. So, scientific, maybe not fiction because it's also real life, but science enough. It kind of makes sense that he would comment on that, and I love the fact that he commented on that. Speaking of Oppenheimer, of course, we have to talk about Cillian Murphy winning Best Actor. That's an incredible win. Again, low-key, there is a very low-key part of me that kind of wishes that Colman Domingo would have won, just because he's one of my favorite actors of all time. But yeah, there's not a snowball chance in hell he would have won. That was all Cillian Murphy all the way. I think he gave an incredible speech, just like RDJ, another incredible speech. I loved both of their speeches. Then, of course, just to keep on the Oppenheimer train, we have Christopher Nolan. Of course, he won Best Picture. He won Best Director. Those are, again, incredible speeches. This is a filmmaker. This is a director that we've loved for years, ever since his first nomination back in Memento. He got a screenplay nomination for Memento all the way back in 2000 whatever. The fact that he's finally won his Oscar after everything he's gone through with The Dark Knight and the whole Batman movies, with Inception, with Dunkirk, all the other movies in between, and this is the one he gets it. Yes, it's incredible. Now, I'll be honest, I personally do prefer Inception to, I think, for me personally, that's my favorite Nolan movie, if I'm being honest. And, I'll be honest, The Dark Knight, probably a close second. Regardless, I am happy that Oppenheimer got him the win for Best Director, for Best Picture. I think that was an incredible speech across the board for both of them, and I'm happy that we can finally say Academy Award winning Oscar winning director Christopher Nolan, Oscar winning actor RDJ Robert Downey Jr., Oscar winning actor Cillian Murphy. That was great. Some of the acting categories I already said. Emma Stone. Now let's talk about Divine Joy Randolph. I'm pretty sure it's been stated time and time again that this is the most awarded performance in history. So not just the Oscars, just across every single voting award, every award ceremony that she's ever been nominated for, this is the most awarded performance ever in history, and acting history. She only lost a handful of awards straight up. So that's incredible. I think that's great, and that was such a powerful performance. I thought that's easily one of the best performances of last year. That would definitely be my top 5, if not top 10. That's one I really have to think about, but for sure it's top 10, probably top 5. It's just an incredible performance, and I'm so happy she won that award. It's an incredible. Yeah, it's just an incredible win. I'm really happy that she won. Hopefully we get to see more from her, and I think we will. Same thing with Lily Gladstone. Again, let me just touch on her a little bit very fast. I also do hope we get to see more from Lily Gladstone and Sandra Hüller, because I feel like Sandra Hüller especially, I feel like Lily Gladstone and Sandra Hüller low-key, they could just fit into the background, which happens often with actors after they get a nomination or a win, where they could low-key just slip into the background. And I think I see that happening with both of them. I don't know why, but I really do. Regardless of what I think about Lily Gladstone's performance, even if I didn't connect with it as much as I probably should have or wanted to, I do want to see more from both of them, from Lily Gladstone and from Sandra Hüller, where she gave 2 incredible performances this year, both in Anatomy of the Fall and The Zone of Interest. And yeah, I do think that we'll see more from them. I really hope we get to see more from them, and that'll be great. Speaking of The Zone of Interest, apparently from what I'm seeing, I was one of the few people who actually predicted The Zone of Interest to win in Best Sound. A lot of people are putting their bets on Oppenheimer, but for me, it just The Zone of Interest in a lot of ways is a silent film, so it kind of just made sense for the Zone of Interest to win, and I'm very happy that I got that one correct. It's great. I love the fact I got that one correct, and that's such a cool win for a movie, the Zone of Interest, for a category like that, because usually they do give it to the movie with the most sound. And I mean, my second place pick was honestly Maestro, just because it was kind of a musical, kind of. But, you know, it would have made sense, and I had thought about it a little bit more. It would have made sense if they gave it to Oppenheimer, because Oppenheimer is the big movie to beat here. And we're talking about the movie with the fucking atom bomb, you know, that explosion scene with the delayed explosion, the way it's used, the sound is used in that scene, as well as throughout the rest of the movie, is great. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it always just made sense for the Zone of Interest to win, and I am happy that I stuck to my guns on this one, and I won. I kind of wish I would have stuck to my guns in Best Actress, but that's neither here nor there at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, so some of the other categories I got right. I mean, what was I made for? I mean, that was a great performance. That was a great win. Although I will say, had they voted right there on the spot, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna would have actually won, because that performance was just, like, amazing. Chef's kiss, like, that whole performance is, like, honestly probably one of the best performances in Oscar history, period. I'll put it up there with Natu Natu, in my opinion. I'll put it up there with My Heart Will Go On. I will put it up there with actually Billie Eilish's No Time to Die. I'll put it there with Encanto, Dos Oruguitas, that performance. I'll put it up there with the Lose Yourself performance from a few years back. Like, I would say this is maybe one of the best performances in Oscars history, and I'm just kidding. So yeah, it's an incredible one. I'm just looking at some of these other ones that I got that I want to comment on. Let's see, editing, yeah, that went to Oppenheimer, expected. Costume design, and want to report things, like some of these I don't really have much to comment on, because it just is what it is. Henry Sugar won, and I'll be honest, that win was kind of anticlimactic, because Anderson was not there to receive the award. So it's like it's one of those things, like, not only are people, like, kind of, like, indifferent that this is the film that he won for, but the fact that he wasn't even there, like, I kind of wish he was there just so he could give an actual speech. But I found that win to be very anticlimactic, especially because, like, the guy wasn't there. Yeah, 20 Days in Mariposa, that won as expected. That makes sense. International film, of course, went to the Zone of Interest. You know, he gave a speech. Jonathan Glazer, he gave that speech, and apparently a lot of people are turned off by the fact that he mentioned the whole Palestine Gaza situation and what's going on there. I'll be honest, the first time I saw that, or heard the speech, I didn't really add two and two together, because he didn't specifically say Gaza or Israel or Palestine or whatever. Like, he said, you know, he said some stuff about his Jewish heritage, and how, you know, him as a Jew, or, you know, people who are Jewish need to, like, accept who they are, or something like that, right? But I honestly did not add two and two together when it was happening, and after the fact, I'm like, okay, I mean, if anything, I'm surprised more people didn't mention it, if I'm being honest. I'm actually kind of surprised that more people didn't mention it. And, you know, take that for what you will. Especially because there was, at the time of the award ceremony, there actually was, like, a protest right outside the theater where they host the ceremony, you know, protesting the fact that the Oscars are happening. And, you know, there's even a video of Mark Ruffalo, you know, going on with the protesters, like, you know, I support the protesters, or whatever he said. No, it's Hollywood. It's always political, whether you like it or not. I'm actually kind of surprised, you know, when you actually think about it, I'm actually kind of surprised it wasn't more political. So, you know, I don't know if that's good or bad, but take that for what you will. The only other thing I want to comment on, the only actual one thing I want to comment on, and maybe I should have commented this at the very beginning of the video, because that's when I said my overall thoughts on the ceremony, but the only other thing I want to comment on is actually, there is a moment in the show where they decide to give, like, recognize the stunts people, and I found that to be very awkward, because it's like Jimmy Kimmel and his terrible monologue in the beginning, he mentioned how there was going to be a new category, which I've already commented on, and that was for best casting. But that's not going to apply for another 2 years, until the 98th Academy Awards. Cool, whatever. Now, when they did this in this ceremony, when they decided to, like, honor the stunts people, I just find it very incredibly awkward, because when they were doing this, I thought, oh, are they going to announce a stunts category finally? Are they going to do that? And they didn't. And it's like, why are you bringing this up? Like, this is just teasing us at this point. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's the point of it? And it's like, I also didn't like that aspect of it. Like, fucking why? But that's about it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Academy. Overall, I thought there were some great speeches. I thought there were some great surprises, especially with Emma Stone winning. You know, overall, I thought it was a really good ceremony. It would have been better had literally anybody else aside from Jimmy Kimmel would have hosted this. I thought that Jimmy Kimmel just ruins everything he's in. Get John Mulaney. Everybody loved John Mulaney. Literally, the 5 seconds he was on stage, people loved it, cheered more than whatever bullshit Kimmel did out of his ass. And also, John Mulaney didn't insult anybody ever in his speech, unlike Kimmel, who was just itching to piss off that whole fucking room. So, yeah. And, yeah, I mean, like, how are you gonna go in front of RDJ and do a drug joke in front of the guy and just to piss him off, or like piss off Emma Stone by saying some dumb shit about her movie, or say that animated movies are still children's movies? Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Like, fucking why? He is just slightly funnier than Joe Coy, and that's saying a lot, because Joe Coy fucking bombed when he hosted an award show. There's three things I would say for the Academy for next year. One, fix your in memoriam segment. God damn, fix your in memoriam segment. Two, actually announce the Best Picture nominees at the end. Okay? And three, don't ever bring back Jimmy Kimmel. Nobody wants him back. Even the people who kind of like him say, like, yeah, he's good, but like, I want comedy. Or like, they're like, yeah, he's fine. Like, even the people who don't dislike him, it's not like they do like him. Like, that's the thing. I've never met an actual fan of Jimmy Kimmel. Like, at most, they're like, oh yeah, he's a guy. I'm indifferent towards him. I guess he has a few funny jokes, whatever. Like, I've never seen anybody be a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. Like, Jimmy Fallon, like, yes, Jimmy Fallon has his haters, but I've seen people be like ardent supporters of Jimmy Fallon. Like, just get someone who's funny. Get somebody who's funny. That's what I'm saying. But that's besides the point. Overall, it was a good ceremony. Some of my predictions were right. Some of my predictions were wrong. There were some great performances. And yeah, that's basically it. We'll see you guys here next year on the Oscars. Yeah, that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.